no extra charge for seeing this gentleman, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, a beautiful state of West Virginia, pretty much his own man. He's playing a pivotal role here, trying to reach across to the other side. It is an alien concept these days in both parties, but the senator joins us right now. Very good to see you.
Good to be with you, Neil.
All right, first off, the Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross, has been approved.
Yes.
You voted against him. You voted for Steven Mnuchin to be the Treasury Secretary. Why?
First of all, let's start with Steven Mnuchin. Steven Mnuchin, I've always said this, if you go through your FBI background check and your ethics probe and your financial disclosure, give the benefit of the doubt. I never had any relationship with Steven before that, and I've talked to Steven. I am very hopeful that he's going to do major reform, tax reform. I'm concerned about the $20 trillion debt that we're carrying and growing daily, and no one seems to be talking about it.
What about Wilbur Ross, though?
He's committed, okay, so that's where Steven comes from. Wilbur Ross, I hope that for him to do the best he possibly can. I will do everything I can to work with him. I couldn't come to voting for him. In my state of West Virginia, we had, in 2006, I was governor, and we had a horrible disaster of the Sabre mine. He owned the mine at that time, so you can imagine the heartache of the families that lost their loved ones. That's a tough situation, and to explain that, you know, could something have been done differently? I don't really know, and we're not putting any blame there, but just the whole
that his stewardship of that
there
company.
You go. And then on top of that, we had Weirton Still. Weirton Still was a bankruptcy thing that he purchased. Good business deal. It wasn't good for Weirton, and it made it very difficult with all the thousands of jobs we lost.
But he didn't do anything illegal.
Not at all. Not at all.
So this is just a personal call on your part. We'll work with him as Commerce Secretary.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. I just couldn't, in all good conscience, go back home and face the people and give him my vote of approval.
How are they treating you even within your own party? I mean, you're pretty much your own guy.
Yeah.
This vote, you know, for the Commerce Secretary versus the Treasury, so it illustrates that. But some in your party don't like you reaching across the aisle. Well, and there's a very toxic attitude. And it existed with Republicans working with the President Obama.
You and I were just talking briefly about what's going on here. You know, we grew up in a time when there's guilt by association. If somebody was a bad character, did something wrong, and you happen to be their friend or even be with them, they say, well, you're guilt by association.
Right.
This town is now guilt by conversation. You can't even have a conversation trying to find a pathway forward. And I'm not going to subscribe to that. I didn't come here to do that. Nobody's winning. Nobody's rooting for someone to win, something good to happen. Nobody seems to be rooting for that, to really reach out and cross over.
Well, many in your party don't even want Donald Trump to remotely succeed.
Well, I'm sure of that, but, you know, in all honesty, when
it was the other way around.
When Mitch McConnell says, my main job is to make sure Barack Obama doesn't get reelected, that told you everything was going to be shut down. We've got to get past that. Two wrongs don't make a right. We can't mimic that from whatever reason, and I'm just not going to partake in it. I'm looking.
You worry, though, that your party has taken such a hard charge left and vowed that any cooperation with this president on any level is not to be urged, that it's going to double down on nothing getting done.
Dill, if the Democratic Party, I'm a West Virginia Democrat, a little bit different than a Washington Democrat, and the Democrats that come from red states, if the Democratic National Party doesn't understand that there is a difference, there is a centrist, there's a moderate swing in a wing of our party, what really was the deal makers, the John Kennedys, if you will. If they can't realize that, then they're going to be in the minority for quite some time.
But John Kennedy knew to reach out to Republicans to get a tax cut that came to fruition after he died.
Absolutely.
Ronald Reagan knew to reach out to Tip O'Neill and Southern Democrats, I think they were called boll weevils, to get a tax cut. That's usually the only way you can get stuff done of lasting value.
Well, what's happened, there's so much outside money coming in right now, and so much dark money, as we call it, and Citizens United, right, wrong, or indifferent. I think it's wrong because you can't identify. I don't mind a person spending money against me. I'd like to know who the person is because I can tell you what the purpose is. With that being said, everyone's now just catering to their base, where their money comes from, who supports them. I take an oath to support everybody, whether you voted for me or against me, whether you're Democrat or Republican. I'm going to do everything I can to help you, and I want my state to be the best it can. My state can't succeed unless this president succeeds. I can assure you of that. My country comes first.
This president did very well in your state.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but up here, he has to succeed in Washington, not just in my state getting elected. He has to succeed. So whether you vote for him or against him, or for her or against her, once that person becomes chief executive of our country, the president, you better do all you can to make them successful. Someone said, hey, Joe, what are you going to do if Donald Trump gets elected? I said I'm going to do the same as I would if Hillary Clinton gets elected. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to try to help them. I'll be an honest broker, tell them when I disagree, tell them I think if there's a pathway forward, or if they're wasting their time and energy, there might be another direction.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Real quickly, fake news. Do you believe that expression?
There's so much news, Neil, anymore. You know, thank God you still got a great following, and they still believe you, and I believe you.
Okay. It's weird that we're not invited, though, to the White House. You know, it's kind of bizarre.
Well, maybe they're taking you for granted.
Yeah,
You think
I was
that could be
thinking
it?
the exact same
Yeah, I
thing,
think you're
taking
right.
you for granted.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, Senator Manchin, very good seeing you. my
Thank
friend.
you, Neil.
All right,
Always
thank
good to
you
be
very,
with
very
you.
much.